Welcome to the Page Turner Adventures Creative Literacy Program, filled with crafts and activities that get kids excited about books and reading.
Alright, well, you can't have steampunk without the goggles. And today I'm going to teach you how to make some awesome steampunk goggles out of mostly recycled materials. So essentially this project is more or less free, and you're actually doing a cool thing by keeping some stuff out of a landfill. So a couple of things that we're going to use today are, number one, these are bicycle tire inner tubes that I got for free at my local bike store. Not only this part right here, the strap, but also the part that looks like leather that's surrounding the goggles right there is also bicycle tire inner tubes. Now my local bike store said that they throw away about 20 or 30 flats a day when they're replacing tires on new bikes. So if you're doing this project, and if you do this project a lot, you're actually keeping some bicycle tires out of a landfill, which is a cool thing, and you're getting some free materials, baby. All right. So anyway, a couple of other materials that I want to talk about is right here. This is going to be the main part of your goggle. Not the whole thing. We're just going to use the nozzle that's on the inside, the spout that's on the inside right there, and I'll show you how to pull that out. It's real super easy. And so you're going to need two of these laundry detergent bottles with the spouts. It doesn't matter what laundry detergent. I happen to have Sun, but it doesn't matter what type of material or what type of laundry detergent bottle that you use. If you can, try and use two of the same kind, but very often the spouts inside are very similar. Let's go over some of the other materials. For this particular project, you need two bicycle tire tubes. You're going to need one, which is a mountain bike tire tube, which is a little bit thicker. And then you're going to need another one for the strap, which is a racing bike tire tube, which is actually really, really thin. And when you do call up your local bike store and say, hey, how about some bike tire tubes? One thing that you want to ask is that they give you this little nut. Because this little nut actually goes right on these little skinny valve stems. But when the mechanics are changing flats and they're throwing away the old flats, they just throw these nuts in the garbage as well. And those are usually at the bottom of the garbage. So I'm not sure if they want to go fishing for them to give them to you. But if you tell them ahead of time, hey, make sure you save those for me. It's free parts, man, and we're going to need them for today. All right, another main thing that you're going to need for the lenses, you're going to need just some plastic file folders. Now, this is the only thing, everything else here pretty much it was recycled. This is the only thing that I actually paid for, and I paid, I think, $3 for like 5 of them. And out of these, we could probably get a couple of dozen sets of lenses in whatever color we want. So this is actually a really good deal, and you might already have some anyway, just kind of floating around. All right, you're also going to need a pair of scissors, some masking tape, some scotch tape, a screwdriver, some pliers. These are little brads, or little fasteners, paper fasteners. You're going to need a couple of nuts and bolts, just really small ones if you can. You're going to need a Sharpie, and you're going to need... All right, let's talk about the box cutter. I know we're working with teens, we're working with kids, and handing them a knife might not necessarily be the best idea. But the only reason that we need the box cutter is for one small little part of this project, and actually which takes just a few seconds, but that's something that you can do yourself. You can supervise, and you can be the holder of the box cutter. So, all right, let's do this project. So, grab your laundry detergent bottle. Take the top off, put it aside. We don't need that for this project, but we are going to use it again for another project, so save that. Grab your pliers. Go ahead and just reach right in there, grab the nozzle, grab that spout, and just kind of yank it out. It's pretty simple. All right, put that there. Now, we're also going to use this for another project later. We like to recycle our recyclables. So there's a lot of recycling going on. All right, put my pliers aside right there. Now here's the deal. That is the right shape for a pair of goggles. It's gonna look kind of like that, but it's not the right color. One thing I forgot to mention earlier is that you're actually going to need yourself a can of metallic spray paint. Now, if you want to do silver, you can, but really, steampunk is very much about the gold and the brass. So if you want to grab yourself a can of gold or brass colored metallic spray paint. Now, here's where you need the X-Acto knife or box cutter. What we're gonna do is we wanna cut this spout out right here, but if you cut with a pair of scissors in there, it's just really hard to get in. And so what you wanna do is just kind of cut just on the inside as you turn that around, so you actually cut the nozzle part out of your spout. Take your time with this. All right, there you go. We don't use that for any other project. Get rid of it. Recycle it. All right, so now you have one of your goggles, just like that. And this might be another good time to really be able to reach in there and dry that bad boy out, because you want it to be nice and clean. Now here's the thing. We're gonna paint the top of this, but we want to put the bicycle tire tube on there right now because it takes a little bit of muscle to put that bike tire tube on. And if you spray paint this right now and then try and muscle on that bicycle tire tube, you're probably actually going to end up kind of cracking your paint and stuff like that. So we're going to do this right now, and then I'll show you how to be able to paint it without painting the bicycle tire tube. Take your bike tire tube, and what you want to do is we want to cut it just a little bit bigger than the tube, and I'll show you why in a little bit. This part does take a little bit of muscle. All you're gonna do is you're just gonna kind of reach in here, and you're really gonna stretch that bike tube, and you're gonna put it over the top of your spout. Toughest part is getting it over that edge. Once you have it over that edge, you can adjust exactly where it is that you want that to be. Now this bottom part is the part that's going to go on your eye, actually. It's actually going to touch your face. And so what I like to do is, if you notice on these, the tube, this is why we wanted to make the tube just a little bit longer than the width of this, because it kind of goes over, gives it a nice finished look, and protects your eyes a little bit right here as well. So this one is not hanging over the edge yet. I'm going to do that. Cool. Now the other thing is, this part right here, you might want also, not just the top part, you also might want this part right here to kind of look gold. So get that to about where you like it, and now we're gonna get ready to actually paint this. And what we're gonna do is we wanna make sure that the paint goes all the way up to there, so you're gonna take the tube and roll it down, because we don't want to paint the tube. And now, you're gonna take your masking tape, and you're just going to cover up the tube part here so you don't paint the tube. All right, then you're just going to put it down on the ground and you're going to spray paint it. I've already done that. So this right here is already spray painted, and I'm going to take the masking tape off. I'm going to unroll the tube, and already you got a pretty sweet looking goggle right there. You can kind of see where we're going with this. Now the next thing that I want to do is, and this is just me personally, this little hole right here, I don't like the fact that there's going to be a hole there. We're going to fill this with a lens, but there's still going to be a hole there, and that's part of every single spout that you're going to find, because that's how the detergent drains back into the bottle. So I actually have my nut and my bolt, and I'm going to take my bolt, put it right through there, take my nut, and just kind of put it on the other side there. Get my pliers again. Now I'm just going to screw it in, but don't screw it in all the way quite yet. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to cut out the lenses. Now, take the top that you had before, and that's going to be your template, because the top actually fits right inside, and that's the size of the lens that we're going to make. So I am going to choose, I'm going to choose blue. Now, these are going to be your lenses. But remember when I said to keep this loose right here? That's because what we're going to do is take this right here, shove it inside there, and then tape it in. but part of this circle is going to go right up to there. But if you notice, we're actually going to have to, I'm going to cut one more little notch right in there so this fits in perfectly. And then I'm going to take my Scotch tape and tape the other end of the lens inside. And now you can tighten that bolt down. All right, looking pretty good. Now what we want to do is we want to attach the strap that's going to go around your head. And we'll attach it to one side. So take your skinny bike tire and cut that right there. And we're going to take this end of the strap and we want to put it inside right here. So what we're going to need to do here is actually roll this back up and be careful of your paint because you don't want to chip that. So don't try not to manhandle it too much there. And just lay your strap right inside there on the exact opposite end of where that screw is. And then you're just going to roll the bike tire tube right back over. Now it's locked in place there pretty good. But just if you want to add a brad, you want to probably cut just a little bit of a hole. I made a hole. Now I'm going to stick a little brad in there. All right, I'm actually going to measure the strap so I know where to cut it on the other side. So I'm actually going to put it on my eye right here. Check it out, we're almost there. And you're going to kind of measure it and just kind of give a little bit of extra. You can always cut it down a little bit, but give it a little bit of extra extra material right there. Cut that off and we'll fix that later. So that's going to be about the right size. Now, take your valve stem from your racing bike tire, which is the small little skinny one, and we're just going to cut that out. Leave a little bit of room down here, a little bit of that rubber on there. We don't want to get rid of that too much. Now what we're going to do is we're going to stick this through here, and that's going to be part of your bridge. So you probably want to do it right about in the middle, pretty much where that screw is right there, right about there. Once again, you can take your scissors and poke a hole. Okay. I took the screw off because we're going to need to put this through. Oh yeah, that's a nice size hole right there. There we go. Oh yeah, check it out. Nice. So that is one part of your steampunk goggle right there. I'm going to make one more of these real quickly and then we're going to connect them. What we need to do now is we need to attach the first goggle with the second goggle. Once again, we're going to poke a hole right here so the nozzle attaches. At this point in time, you take your nut and you screw it right onto the inside, right in there. But that locks them both in just like that. And since you're going to take your strap and bring it around, you're going to want to kind of roll that part of your goggle up a little bit so you can get that strap in there. But before you put it in there, measure it one more time. Got to cut a little off. And then just roll it right back on there. And we're going to have to put our brad on there again. So we got to make one more hole. Oh yeah. There you have it. Sweet, free steampunk goggles. There you go. I usually wear them up on the head like this. Have fun with this project. Your teens are gonna love it. Now you can add all sorts of other little accoutrements to that as well, but they're fine just the way they are, and they look hip.
For more great crafts and activities, visit our blog at pageturneradventures.com.